It happened. Last night we saw a billionaire flop on live TV, and it wasn't Elon Musk. Run It Back starts now.
Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, run it back.
Oh, good morning. It's Monday morning, and welcome to Run It Back. We are all in our respective homes once again, but we will reunite soon, my friends. And I introduced Shams Charania Stadium insider Chandler Parsons. Ooh, looks like you're home, buddy. Must be weird. I love that. And Eddie Gonzalez there on the end. And guys, we had a weekend full of basketball, but we start with the most recent because it's got controversy, and we love that here. Suns evening things up. 53 points from Jokic was not enough because when Devin Booker and KD have 72, well, what are you going to do? But Devin Booker, 79% from the field over his past two games. I don't know how much more efficient you could get, Chandler. And even Shaq had to apologize for now finally being familiar with Devin Booker's game. How impressed are you?
It's unbelievable what he's doing. And we're not talking about a big man that's dunking the ball and that's getting high percentage shots. He's getting to his pull-up. He's knocking down threes. He's getting to the rim. He's playing fast and getting in transition. He's doing everything on the floor. He even laughed about it after the game, saying that he doesn't get too many open shots, and the whole KD, the way they spread the floor, the way defenses have to pick their poison against these two guys, it's really allowed him to flourish. And when you look at him in the playoffs as a two guard that's played some point guard, averaging 37 points, shooting 61% from the field, it really is unheard of. And I hope it continues to go. I don't know how you sustain these type of numbers, but they need it. And we all talk about their bench, how it's been thin, but when you're getting him playing like this and KD playing like he's playing, this is the best version of the Suns, and this is how they're going to have to advance. So it's incredible what he's doing, just the efficiency, and he's playing aggressive, and they're not easy shots. That run he went on the end of the third quarter, he's shooting over double teams. He's getting to one little second to get to a spot and rise over the defense. So it really is crazy.
I noticed you said this is the best version of the Suns. We'll put a pin in that and we'll come back to it. Eddie, biggest difference between games 3 and 4 for you was what?
Yeah, I don't want to downplay Devin Booker's performances because that's probably the biggest difference. I mean, some of the greatest offensive performances we've ever seen. I don't mean to go morning show hyperbole, but it's been ridiculous. The fact that he also had 12 assists last night, the fact he also had 9 assists in game 3 when he shot 20 of 25, and the shot making is just absolutely ridiculous. I saw that game in person, and I couldn't believe he was making some of those shots he was getting. But the difference is that it was a more concerted team effort. I mean, they obviously had a big night from Landry Shamet last night, but they also out-rebounded the Nuggets, which I wasn't sure they could do. Game 3, they had less turnovers. They had more bench points. The team is just stepping up in ways that they didn't out in Denver, and they will need to in Game 5 in Denver as well. But again, a more concerted team effort. I think Monty's gone deeper in his bench. They found something with Jock Landale against Jokic. It's tough to say that when a guy scored 53 points last night, but he's been a net positive in his minutes and been huge on the boards for them. I think they found the group they want to go with in this series, and we're at the point in the series, there's no magic subs left for each team. There's going to be little tinkers, little adjustments with strategy, but these are the guys they're going to go with. And I think Monty found a group that he can score with, defend with, and stick with this team as best they can. So that's been huge for them, and that's been the difference out there in Phoenix.
Yeah, KD and Devin Booker, the first duo in NBA history to have 35, 5 and 5 in consecutive games for the Suns. And so I think when the onus is on them so heavily, they've been asked to deliver. Devin Booker has done so the last couple games. Like Eddie, I was at game 3. Kevin Durant struggled from the field, was able to get to the foul line, still get his points, still be able to produce. These guys are both going to have to score around 40 points in these games in order to win, especially with no Chris Paul. It's not like they have this third star that can just step up in scoring, but you see Terrence Ross playing more, TJ Warren playing more, those two guys giving a scoring lift. And Monty Williams, I think, going back to Phoenix, understood that they needed more pop, more scoring coming off that bench, especially with no Chris Paul. So being able to rely on those two guys, Campaign has brought more energy in the last couple games as well. Jock Landale playing solid off the bench. So this team has found something. We'll see if it translates to the road.
All right, it's time to get to the controversy. The flop heard round the world, or maybe it wasn't a flop, Chandler. I don't know. I want to hear your opinion on this. New Suns owner Matt Ishbia, sitting courtside down in the olive green, I believe it was, has the ball. Jokic goes to get the ball. Doesn't seem like he wants to give up the ball. Elbow goes up. Then Ishbia goes down, my friend. Chandler, your reaction to all of that?
I mean, I don't know where to begin, but was there contact? Yeah, I mean, he gave him a little, forearm shove there, but he definitely sold it. He definitely flopped, and then I love how he even throws his hands in the air and looks at the ref like he wanted to call afterward. Fantastic. And this is tough. We know you're the owner of the team, but why is he holding on to the ball? Why is he not just giving the ball to the referee? And everybody does this. When there's a break like this and one of the other players is down on the other team, you try and get the ball as fast as you can and you get an advantage on the break. So yeah, it's going to be interesting, the decision of what happens here. I don't think there should be a suspension. I think the series is too tight right now, and it wasn't anything that really deserved a suspension. Like I said, he should have never had the ball in the first place. But it's again, this is a situation where now it's sticky, and then we kind of have to wait and see what happens.
Yeah, I'm gonna be the guy that you guys are expecting me to be. That was a push. Like I'm not exactly sure why Jokic went to get the ball. I'm gonna shoot Matt Ishbia a little bit of bail. That chair was right behind his leg, and if you get pushed and you have no legs and you might just tumble backwards like that. I'm with you guys. I'm not exactly sure why he decided to grab the ball, other than if I own the team, I'm liable to grab it and dribble and shoot and try to get a layup on the court. So it was ridiculous, the entire situation. I don't know how we got here. I hope nobody gets suspended, nobody gets fined. If anybody gets fined, I guess it could be the billionaire because it's a nickel to him, and that's cool. But I want to see these two teams play out healthy, full strength. Let's see what happens. Also, Ohm's initial tweet where he said, "Yo, I didn't say anything." Great job, Ohm. I don't know why we're reporting but somebody saying nothing, but at least we got a little more here. So.
It is such a, I mean, it'll be interesting to see what happens today. Hopefully we all agree it's nothing. Do we have a scouting report from Matt Ishbia, Shams? Like, what do we know?
Yeah, so Matt Ishbia bought this team for $4 billion valuation. That's the largest in NBA history. So clearly he's someone that's very aggressive in everything he does. He wanted to buy the Suns. Robert Sarver had set this crazy high mark, and Matt Ishbia met it. And I think his first official day as Suns owner, he goes and trades for Kevin Durant. So he's an aggressive owner for sure. One cool thing in Game 3 on Friday, he had 50 former Suns at the game. 50 plus in a suite. He brought them out. So you see he's trying to change the culture. He had them in a suite. He honored them during the game. It's very rare where like you have former Suns players in years 1 and 2. They might have played like 1 or 2 years with the Suns, and he's going to have them on the big screen on Friday night. So this is a guy that's trying to change the culture, trying to be aggressive. Obviously last night was one situation where I don't think we've ever seen that. An owner of a team holding a basketball being shoved by another player. But I don't know if anyone really wants to see Nikola Jokic get suspended for that.
I'll
definitely
say this.
have Mark Cuban.
He trades for Kevin Durant, and then now if in the playoffs the series tied 2-2, if he managed to get the other team's best player suspended, Phoenix legend, he could do no wrong.
For life. Oh no. I mean, it's not wrong.
Mark Cuban is sitting somewhere seething right now. Like, wait, we can do this? Like he's thinking of what he's gonna do next year.
Right, he's been courtside this entire time. Although he does kind of hide in that little corner next to his bench, so maybe it's a little more difficult. But the good news is Mike Malone was asked about it, and this was my favorite part of the night. Was waiting for answers about the fan. Here's Mike Malone.
I think it's crazy that Nikola got technical foul in that situation. He's going to get the ball, and some fan is holding on to the ball like he wants to be a part of the game. Just give the ball up, man. You know what I mean? And they deemed Nikola doing something that was excessive, I guess, and they gave him the tech. But I still don't really understand it.
I think the fans, the owner of the Suns, made a difference.
I don't give a I mean, it's I really don't care.
I mean, that is 100% the only correct answer that he could have given in response to the question is, did you know it was the owner? Look, Shams, we're joking about it. Obviously, we don't really know what's going to happen or what the league will do. Is there a reasonable chance that they would consider actually suspending Jokic for this?
Of course, they're going to look at the play. I think they're going to look at the situation. Whenever there's a player that makes contact with a fan, I mean, you have to look at it excessively. Remember a few years ago in the playoffs, there was a fan that made contact with Kyle Lowry. I think there was a back and forth there, and that fan actually ended up getting banned. It was a Warriors fan. So I think there has been some level of precedence. It's not like Nikola Jokic went into the stands. This all happened courtside. So I don't think the rule applies to where if a player, yes, Nikola Jokic went into the stands, went a few rows in, made contact with a fan deliberately, then for sure, I think it would be grounds for an automatic 1-game suspension. But this situation where this was a play on the ball courtside during live game action, to where I think the league, we'll have to look at, but there's not really precedence for this to suspend a player.
I'd like to think that if the league called Matt Ishbia, I mean, I was like, we're thinking about suspending Jokic. I'd like to think there's a world in which he says, absolutely not, do not do that. Although I'm with Chandler too. You get the best player on the other team suspended, you're a legend for eternity. But what a bad look.
Yeah, and again, I don't think this isn't malice in the palace, right? He didn't go into the crowd. It wasn't an argument. This was him actually trying to get an advantage for his team and grab the ball, and dude was home in the holding the ball. I don't think he knew that was the owner when it happened. Obviously, they were made aware before the press conference, and I love that they kept calling him the fan. That was incredible. But I will say this, get ready for the race card when he does not get suspended, because I don't think he's going to get suspended, and there's going to be a lot of things. If this were Draymond, he would be suspended. If this were Dylan Brooks, anybody with the worst reputation in the past is going to get suspended. And
Love
I think
the race
that's
card.
But you hate to see it, but I don't think this deserves a suspension. I don't think they can. The magnitude of this next game, they can suspend him, and he doesn't deserve it.
Chandler, your ass would be suspended, and you're white as hell.
I would be tossed.
He'd be gone. Go, Eddie.
We can compare him to multiple guys. It's kind of funny. Jokic has a history of, I would say cheap shots. I'll probably get yelled at about that, but he's definitely taking his shots at guys. He's known for, if he doesn't like a foul, he'll hack a guy in the backcourt to kind of make the point to the ref. That's a foul, like one of those deals. I don't think he should get suspended. I see a lot of people highlighting the letter of the law and trying to figure out. And yeah, if you go in the stands and you make contact with a fan, it is pretty damning, no matter the situation, right? I don't think he should get suspended, but I do disagree with Michelle. I think Matt would be perfectly fine if Jokic got suspended. So we'll see what happens. I mean, I want to see these guys at full strength, and I think that's what we're going to get.
For one split second, by the way, when all this happened last night, I legit thought it was the Jokic brothers. I thought something was going on in the stands with the brothers because we haven't mentioned them in a while. And so I was like, oh my God. And then it turns out it's the owner. No chance. But we got to get back to the game, the personnel that's available. And one key part that is not has been Chris Paul. And Chandler said it earlier that right now this is the best version of this Phoenix Suns team. Sans Chris Paul. Shams, what's the latest with the groin injury?
Yeah, the Suns are preparing to be without him for Game 5 as well. He's expected to be out, and I think the window for him to return from that groin strain is Game 6 potentially, from what I'm told. But this is an injury that it doesn't just heal within a matter of days. It usually takes weeks at a time. If this were the regular season, this is a guy that would probably be out multiple weeks. But because it's the playoffs, yes, I was in Phoenix. I was told Chris Paul really wants to play, but that's a groin injury. It's a soft tissue injury, so he will be out by all accounts in Game 5, and we'll see how he fares in either Game 6 or Game 7.
I mean, look, people, it was a big loss, obviously, but you still have two superstars, Chandler, and you did say this is the best version of the Suns team. Do you really think that without Chris Paul, they're actually better?
Well, I don't know if they're better. I just think it's giving KD and Devin Booker more opportunity. That's less Chris Paul in the pick and roll with DeAndre Ayton and with Jock. And so these guys are getting the ball and they're getting more looks. And CP is great. He's a Hall of Famer. But if you go and you win games 3, games 4, and game 5, you're going to switch something up, bring him back game 6. I don't know if I would do that, especially when we're talking about an injury that's not going to get better quick. And you're going to want him in the next series if you do somehow survive and advance and get through these guys. So I don't think there's any rush here considering how well they're playing without him. But at the end of the day, this is a team that is thin, and this is a team that doesn't really have a bench, and they could use all the manpower that they can get. So I still think Chris Paul has a ton of value here just because of how not deep this team is. But the way they're playing, I wouldn't switch a thing.
Man, it's got to suck when you're on the bench and your team actually dominates without you. It has to hurt your ego significantly. And I know the series is even, Eddie, but I like to do must wins or at least levels of must win. Game 5 for this Denver team, level of must win.
I think it's a 10 for both teams. I mean, historically, we've seen in a 2-2 series going into Game 5, the team that wins Game 5 typically wins the series and wins out at that. I mean, we have a couple of examples going the other way. I know the 2013 Heat are like the most infamous ones of, losing Game 5 and then figuring it out. But I think both teams feel good at where they're at. If you're the Nuggets, you're saying, hey, look at what those guys are having to do to beat us. They had to score almost 90 points combined the other night to beat us. And yesterday they'll do almost something similar. They needed 6 threes from Landry Shamet to beat us. You're assuming that's not going to happen in Denver. But if you're Phoenix, you say, hey, Jokic just scored 53, literally set the record for a point scored in a losing effort in a playoff game. If that can't beat us, what can beat us? You know what I mean? So both teams are feeling confident. Denver, they're feeling like they're going home. Phoenix is feeling like they have the momentum. And I'm with Chandler. I think what the Suns saw stylistically without Chris Paul, that should show them what the team they need to be going forward. I mean, even in Game 3 where Kevin shot as poorly as he shot, he still had 9 assists. He still had 0 turnovers. He got to the line 16 times, created so much offense for them just in the fact of the way they have to cover both of those guys. Even if Chris Paul comes back into the lineup, you got to consider, one, bringing him off the bench. I'd assume he's on a minutes restriction, and 2, giving him a much more secondary role in the offense because of what you've seen from those two guys over the last 2 games.
You think that's going to go over well with Chris Paul? Any of those suggestions you just made?
OG got to accept it. It is what it is. He want to win a ring. You got to accept it. Next series will be better for you, CP.
Damn, I'm not even a Chris Paul fan, and I'm like, what did you just say, Eddie? I don't think so. Look, Sunday gave us good basketball. I say that on purpose because we'll get to the other games eventually. But Celtics Sixers, Game 4, Harden. Make up your mind, dude. Who are you? He had the game winner in overtime yesterday. It was an amazing moment. There was a moment of, is this thing even over? He had 42, 8, 9. Embiid finished with 34 and 13. This one was fun to watch. But the question at the end was also that whether or not the Celtics should have called the timeout after that three-pointer, Chandler, and they're going to get a lot of questions about it. Do you think they should have?
Now, do I think they should have after not getting a shot off? Yeah. But this happens all the time. And a lot of times coaches, players, teams, especially when you have a team like Boston who has 2 guys that can go get you a bucket, they don't want to call a timeout. They don't want to let the other team's defense set. They just want to get the ball and they want to go. I think this just didn't turn out the way they wanted to, but I have no problem here. All they needed to do was kind of get something at the rim. They're only down 1 point. Get to the free throw line, make them defend. But I don't mind it. You can't look to that. There was a lot of questionable decisions, a lot of questionable calls here. And this game could have went any which way. But no, I don't hate it. I mean, they could have got a look. Tatum just held onto the ball a little bit too long there, but I got no problem with this. It just didn't work out this time.
That's a weird ending.
With the timeout, they probably go to the same action anyway, and then Philly gets Tyrese Maxey off the floor. Clearly the guy they want to target at that point in the game. So I don't mind it. You trust those guys. They've been through wars. They've been to multiple Game 7s. They've been to the finals last year, and Jason's just got a good shot off against that. So I don't mind it. But, hey, it might have cost him. And like Chandler said, I would have loved for him to get a shot off. And I actually think that plays a really good example of why Jason Tatum needs to utilize the mid-range, because he had opportunity to pull from there to win the game. And he's just, programmed. It's a 3, it's a layup, or I'm kicking. And that's what we ended up with.
Do you think that should have counted the Tatum 3? Or was it push off?
The push off the play before? Yeah, let's just play off basketball. We're gonna push. Like I don't mind a push off, just like I don't mind a bump from the defender. That was kind of light as far as pushes go. He didn't push with the palm. He gave him a little forearm. Tyrese Maxey is a smaller guy.
Hold up.
Play off basketball.
That elbow
check
is
up,
exactly.
let's shoot.
Wait, I gotta say this. That elbow is exactly what Jokic did to Ishbia, and you guys called that a push. Now all of a sudden it's
and
not
look
a
what
push.
look what it did to Tyrese Maxey.
Also
and,
flop.
and Matt Ishbia's half his size and he even weighs less. He's not an athlete. He's in his 40s. So, see, I think you're proving my point.
No, I think you are. They're both flopped, and it was not a push either way. Here's the good news. Doc Rivers was asked about the Tatum late three and the game. Here he is. Yay, Doc.
Jason Tatum's three was awful that wasn't called. Awful.
You thought it was a push-off.
Did you? Did you think it was a push-off? I'm asking you.
It looked like a push-off.
No, be committed. Did you think it was a push-off? It was a push-off.
Yeah,
Did you?
I mean, it was a push off, but I see where Doc Rivers is coming from. How this game was being called, that should have been included in all the other calls that they've. But you don't want the Doc Rivers is on record saying I don't ever want the refs to decide the game with the whistle, and this would have done that exact thing. It just was he was on the other end. It's a push off. His arm extends. I think Tyrese Maxey almost like kind of trying to oversell it here. Almost hurt him in a way, but I agree with the no call. Like Eddie said, it's playoff basketball. You don't want that to come down. He still hit an incredible shot. It worked out for Philly down the road in overtime, but it is tough because the refs, when they have the whistle and they call it tight for 47 minutes and then they don't in the last minute, it's confusing. And that's where guys get frustrated. That's where guys change their game. That's where coaches get texts. And that's where everyone loses their mind because it's just not consistent enough. I don't think this was enough with the game on the line to call it. But when you watch the replay and when you look at it, it was a push-off, and it's definitely an offensive foul.
Listening to Doc's comments after the game, though, I can see where he's coming from because there were some ticky-tack fouls. PJ Tucker got called on one on Marcus Smart late in the game. So some of these chippy fouls that happen, and then you see Jason Tatum. Clearly, there was a little bit of a forearm push. I feel like Tyrese Maxey, if he wanted to, he could have sold it even more and flopped. If he flopped and fell over, maybe he gets the offensive foul call. It doesn't happen. But I think overall, definitely some chippiness down the stretch that could have been let go, but they called it interestingly down the stretch. Overall, I think just James Harden, 2 go-ahead jumpers to win games for the Sixers in this series. And his history, I think late in games, he shoots a lot of jumpers. I mean, Chandler, you played with him. I feel like he has a tendency to go his three-point shot late in games. And here in this playoff run, we're seeing him make those shots at a really high level. So, for him, 2 really strong games in this series.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought him up because Harden has had, it's a very confusing resume for this series so far in the 4 games. But I just want to start with how impressive he was in this one before we try to figure out the pattern. Chandler, talk to me.
I mean, he was great. He's getting to his spots. He's efficient. He had a very Devin Booker-esque game here where they weren't the easiest shots. He's making them. And he's showing that he can still dominate a game. And now he did it with Joel Embiid in the lineup. I hated what he did last game. He took a step back when Joel came back and he was more passive. He went back to this facilitating role, which he's also very good at. But he's too talented to do that. And I think the best version of Philly is when he is aggressive. And that showed, and he's been big time. This reminded me of his MVP series, how he played last night. And I just hit Siri again. Sorry, hold on.
Oh, I love her. How is she?
I found this on the web for how he played last night.
Anywho,
She's so fun.
Sorry about that. No, this was great. And he was aggressive. And you know what? He had 1 turnover last night, too, which was the most impressive part of I thought. But he's got to continue to do this. He can't be passive. He's not a backseat guy. He can have a balance, or he can go get a bucket and he can get the big fella involved while getting everyone else involved too. And he's been doing that. It's paying off, and I'm happy because he has not been great historically in the playoffs. And he's even been up and down this game. But these 2 games, he's been huge. They've won, so he's got to continue to do this.
That's the thing. He has not been great in the playoffs, and that has been his reputation. So here's the pattern so far, Eddie. Game 1 had the 45. Game 2, 12. Game 3, 16. Game 4, 42. If I'm trying to figure out the pattern, the next 2 games would be garbage, but I don't know. Which version of Harden do you expect in Game 5?
I expect something closer to what we just saw in Game 4. Look, he's shown he can do it out there in Boston. I think every team has this kind of uneven, awkward meshing of their 2 stars. Every team left in the playoffs. And unfortunately for the Sixers, I think they're the two who mesh the least stylistically. Joel wants the ball in the elbow. He wants to prod. He wants to take it slow. He wants to take his time. Whereas James wants to run pick and roll. He wants to handle top of the key. He wants to get on that right side so he gets his left hand. It's a lot. But I think yesterday they found some chemistry together. They've done that all season. They've kind of had this your turn, my turn situation. And, Joel was able to score 34 points. He got to the line 16 times, had his opportunities. And when he kind of was hesitating late and had a tough fourth quarter, James stepped up. And like Chandler mentioned, just one turnover. He also had 4 steals. He also had a block, 8 rebounds, 9 assists. Incredible game for James. 2 game winners in this series. And I said when we were in studio, I'm just happy that he's able to do this and kind of get his reputation back for being this dynamic scorer that he is. And I don't think anybody in the league wants a title more than he does. Just in the amount of time I've spent with him, just in the way he's approached his career over the last few years, moving around, looking for the best team, the best option he'd have. He looks motivated. I think we're going to get a great game in Game 5 from him. And I'm more concerned, honestly, with Joel and what we get from Joel because he doesn't exactly look healthy, and he's a little hesitant late in that game. And Al Horford historically has just bothered him, and we're seeing a little bit of that as the series goes on.
Yeah, and also just the fact that how good he's been in last night and everything he's doing for this Michigan State student, John Howe. Super cool, and this is something that's way bigger than basketball. It's way bigger than this playoff. And James made this kid feel so special. He posts on Instagram calling him his good luck charm. This hit home for me. I thought this was really, really cool. And you can get as many points, all-star appearances. This is what it's all about. And he's making this kid's life and a little bit easier. So shout out to James for that. I had to say that because this was really, really cool. And I hope to see this kid again at another game when this keeps going.
Of course, he was.
I love that you bring it up.
Yeah.
I love that you bring it up, Chandler, because I know James has a reputation as like a party guy and all this stuff, and we think of him as this kind of almost a punchline. But this is a lot of stuff we typically don't see, and that James is still doing. He's very caring, he's very giving, he's always there for his fans, and obviously this is huge. And in the immediate wake, he called him and told him he'd see him soon, and kept his promise, and that's huge. And for a guy dealing with what he's dealing with, that's got to brighten his spirits. And your guy hits the game winner and ties the series, has 40, what more could you ask for? So maybe James is right. Maybe that is his good luck charm.
Yeah, hopefully we get to a day someday where we don't have to have these guys come out on the court for that reason, but we're not near that yet. So Chandler, Game 5, Sixers, Celtics, talk to me. Who has more pressure?
It's gotta be Boston, right? This is the team that everyone expected kind of to be the favorite once Milwaukee went down. They're at home. They've smoked 2. Everyone thought they're gonna win in the first place. So I think all pressure goes on them. They have to be better. They have to defend better. They have to. Tatum, he had a rough start yesterday. He's got to be more effective early. He's got to get them going. I still think they have the edge. I still think they're the better team, but they got to protect home court and they got to get it done. But all the pressure is on them. Philly, not many people gave them a chance, and it's taken really big games from certain guys on the Sixers, big plays from everybody. PJ Tucker had a big offensive rebound putback last night.
Yeah, he did.
They don't have the pressure. It's all on Boston. They have to protect home court. If Philly wins this game in Boston, yikes.
Boston just got to be treading water. By the way, PJ Tucker, every time they showed him, was so animated and electric. I was like, okay, I see you. I know we've been talking about the games that happened, but there's also some news, some moving parts that it look like they're happening. Shams, we'll get the scoop on what's the latest with the Pistons head coaching gig.
The Pistons will be hiring a new head coach as soon as this week. Those are the 3 finalists right there. Kevin Ollie, former UConn coach, overtime elite coach. He spent time with Troy Weaver, the GM of the Pistons, in OKC. They were there together for 1 season. Jerron Collins, Pelicans assistant coach. He is also a finalist for this position. He will interview tomorrow. Kevin Ollie today. Charles Lee, the associate head coach of the Milwaukee Bucks under Mike Budenholzer, who was fired. He will interview in front of Tom Gores, the owner, on Wednesday. So expect the Pistons to really hone in and narrow down from these 3 guys to potentially make a hire here soon.
Man, I would love to be a fly on the wall in these interviews. What do they even feel like? Guys, we're taking a quick break here. When we come back, we have a guest. We'll be joined by 2-time NBA champ, Quinn Cook, the Inside Scoop.
Run it back, run it up, the running back, yeah. Run it up, run it back, run it up, run it back.
That man does have a family. And PJ.
Oh, no, Eddie.
That's Kevin Durant, ladies and gentlemen. Eddie, are you silent?
That was nasty. That was nasty.
Michelle,
It kind of got swept under the rug, too, because Denver lost.
Oh, no, it did not. I remember this. I'm happy this wasn't the moment I got caught on TV. Michelle was nice enough to send me the picture when I was on TV. Because, yeah, I pretty much buried my hands in my face, and that was ridiculous. Congrats to Mike. That was absurd.
It's a pretty good moment. I know. By the way, how about the fact that I looked up and Eddie's the only face I see on my television screen? What are the odds of that happening again? It's a pretty amazing moment.
Lucky,
just caught in the crowd.
Lucky you, Beads.
I know. It was kind of an awesome moment. Andrew Wiggins.
Oh.
Ooh.
You never want to try and block Andrew Wiggins when he has this much of a running start.
Ooh. That's
He
fun.
is
That's
cleared for takeoff.
That is a top 1% athlete right there. Like, he jumped clear over AD. Goodness.
I mean, in AD's defense, he's been great, so I could see why you're going for it. But no, not this one.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
This one.
No.
This is not the one.
Wiggy knew he had to go up hard for that one.
Do we like this D'Angelo Russell moment?
Ooh, rough series for Clay.
Clean.
It's a good move. It's a good move.
You don't sound that impressed.
It feels like a move Shams would pull out. I think
What?
that's in Shams' butt and bag.
Collins, you
Wow,
got that?
Shams. I didn't know you had that.
I got
The
that.
pump fake with the pivot.
That's a
I
nice
could see
move.
him
That's a
doing
clean
that.
move.
See, yeah, see?
That's a clean move.
I mean,
Oof.
this seems unfair though, doesn't it?
I mean, that would have been an insane finish if you had to make this, but yeah, get that out.
Yeah.
That's why he's MVP, doing it on both ends.
Right. No plays.
I joked with Jason earlier this year. He's got almost everybody but Joel, and it's still true.
I love it though. Like, don't give up. Try to get him. Season's not over yet. Keep going, Jason.
Add him to the collection, please.
Like, right? Like, it's like, I get it. I could see why you want to keep going for this. We got a guest today. I love when we have a guest joining us. A two-time NBA champion is joining us. Goes by the name of Quinn Cook. And man, Quinn, first of all, we want to welcome you and good morning and all of that great stuff. But for me, you are a man who has the inside scoop and the insight onto this particular series that we're about to talk about. Hello. You played for both the Warriors and the Lakers, and Lakers are up 2-1 in a series that is so confusing and nobody can seem to predict. So I'm going to put you on the spot. Your word will be the end all. Who has the edge in this series?
At this point, I think the Lakers have the edge because obviously, they got the first game on the road. But Golden State, these game fours when they're down 2-1, when it's 2-2 game fives, they can be down 3-2 in game six. They just always find a way. I call those culture wins. So tonight, just like last year in the finals, they was down 2-1 on the road in Boston, and they found a way. So I think I would say the Lakers have the edge right now, but I can never count out, those guys in San Francisco. So tonight is going to be a crazy, crazy game.
When you're a champion with the Warriors, a champion with the Lakers, a guy that teammates love to play with and be around, you play with Steph Curry, you play with LeBron James. Tell us one thing about each that we might not know.
How competitive they are. They're like super, ultra competitive. Every little thing they do, their attention to detail is incredible. The way they work on the court, I've never saw anybody work as fast and as hard as, Steph when I got to Golden State, just his attention to detail. He might not be on the court for an hour, 2 hours. He's probably not going to come in, at night. But that 45 minutes he's on the court is special. And then LeBron, if we have practice at 10 o'clock, he's in the weight room getting work done at 7:30. If we have a game at 7, he's getting to the arena at 2. He's on a different level. So just how competitive they are and how hard they work was definitely eye-opening, but they're better people. And it's always good to see, good things happen to great people.
Quinn, my guy, happy to see you out here, man. Of course, they gave me the question that's supposed to make you go viral. You get Steph, you get LeBron. Which one are you picking? for your team for a 7-game series. You've won with both. You've won 4 series with both of them. So which one, 7-game series?
I'm gonna pick KD.
I like that pick, man. I like that pick.
Smart.
Now we really going viral.
You can't go wrong with those 3. Kevin, Steph, Bron. I don't know. I can't answer it. I can't answer it. They both Steph and Bron, special 4-time champions. The greatest at their position in my eyes. So I don't know. I can't choose.
Man, what's up, bro? Hope everything is well with you. I'm going to double down on the controversial question here. I know what I think, but in your eyes, is Steph Curry the best point guard of all time?
Yes, sir, he is. Not being biased, just I really believe that. No disrespect to the guys who did it before, but I just think pound for pound, not even pound for pound. People do the accolades. If you do the resume, he's still doing it. I don't think there's a point guard better. Obviously, I didn't see Magic on a day-to-day basis, night to night, game to game basis. So I'm a little biased just because I'm younger. But I got to go Steph. He's a winner. He's got the MVPs. He's got the championships, and he's still going. And I just think he's changed the game. So he's the best point guard I've seen. I think he's the best point guard of all time if he stopped playing today. And he's competing for another championship this year. So if he gets 5, I mean, the debate has to be over. So I'm going Steph for sure. I'm with you.
Quinn, there was a video, I think at Game 3 of you and LeBron, or maybe it was Game 2, you and LeBron doing your handshake from a few years ago. I know it went viral. How did you guys both remember that handshake still? And just break down this moment.
Impressive.
I mean, that's my brother. So like, I mean, we hang out in the off season. Like, I see him all the time. So I mean, it's something that is just our first instinct. Something that we came up with when I was his rook in Cleveland, and it's been our handshake for 8 years. And it's not like I hadn't seen him since I played for the Lakers, and that was our first time seeing each other. He remembered it. I mean, he still will remember it, but you know, it's my brother, and we hang out. We get together a lot in the off season. We hang out during the season, so it's not really something that we will forget because I'm always with him. So I'm happy that the moment got caught on video, just because it just shows how much he cares about his teammates. I mean, if he sees Alex Caruso tomorrow, if he sees Kyle, if he sees any of his old teammates, he's gonna remember the handshake. So that's just how he is as a leader, how he is as a teammate, and I mean, he's a special person, man, and I'm just happy I had that relationship with him for sure.
Hey, man, tell Malik Beasley lock in. There's videos of him forgetting their handshake the other day. But look, in the bubble in 2020 when you guys won the title, you got left at the arena. What happened there? I know this is a while back and crazy story. So tell us how that happened for you.
The true story behind what happened is that myself, J.R. Smith, and Dion Waiters, we always left together. Like we always got on a bus at the same time. And obviously we was in a bubble, so they had 2 shuttles to take us back to the resort. It was like a 3-minute drive, but we won a championship. So like obviously there's more activities going on. So we're walking to the bus, and AD's like, Quinn, come take these pictures with me and my family, with the championship. So I'm like, all right, cool. I'm like, cheese, swish, wait for me. Like, I'm about to take these. Chill, like, just give me like 2 minutes. 10 minutes, man, we ain't going nowhere. So I go take the pictures, and they left me. So like, it's not like the entire bus left me. Like, it was still shuttles like going. Like, I hop in with AD and his family. But our ritual, like cheese and swish, they ain't wait for me. You know what I'm saying? So I get on live, they on live, and I'm like, dang, y'all really left me? Like, I just won a championship. I'm back now, like, y'all, wow, like, that's crazy. So, so it went viral again, and it was fun. The internet. I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, the internet's a lovely place, but I would take that personally. All right, so you recently played in China. I want to make sure I get all this right. You hit 12 3-pointers and had 54 points in 28 minutes. At what point or how early in this game did you know, all right, this is a special one?
Well, that was my second game after quarantine. I had to do 11 days quarantine. So the first game, it was a little like, and it was shocking because like I'd never been to China like to play. So first game was cool, but the next game, only one American can play at the same time. Shout out to my boy Kyle Wilcher, national champion at Kentucky, played in the league as well, doing his thing over there. He started the game, so I got in the game with like 2 minutes left, and I scored like 8 points right away. I just was feeling good, but you're not expecting like, especially over there, because it's like you got to be so efficient in a little bit of time because you got to share time with the other Americans. So I knew I got like 18 to 20 minutes to play, but I just had it rolling. I had like 18 at the half, and then I looked up like the first 5 minutes of the third quarter, I had 40. How did this happen? Kyle comes in the game, and then he gets ejected. So then I had to play. Like I had to play the rest of the game. So I am scoring 54. It was cool, but it was great because it went viral, and I was getting love. You know, when you go overseas, you know, sometimes the love isn't as strong as it was or is when you're in the league. So I got a lot of love. I got amazing messages, and people start tapping back in with me. And I played like 4 more games after that. I only played like 6 games in China, and I came back home to get another shot at the NBA. So, but it was a fun moment for me for sure.
Yeah, staying on that. I've been over there a couple of times in the off season, and it's awesome, man. The fans, I've never met crazy than the Chinese fans. But what was your experience like all around, just the time you had there?
Well, it was different, bro. Like we were in a bubble, so you know, it was kind of like the NBA bubble in Orlando. So we all were in the same hotel. They had 2 different hotels. So it was about 10 teams in our hotel. So it was like a big AAU trip, you know. And it's funny because all the Americans, like after all the games, would meet up in the cafeteria and just be down there talking. A lot of guys that I grew up like idolizing, like Greg Monroe was over there, Jared Sullinger was over there, Eric Bledsoe was over there. So Marshawn Brooks is over there. So like I get to chill with these guys all day, every day, learn. And they like Marshawn, he's a vet over there, probably one of the best players ever. Sully's a vet over there. So I was just learning from them. So it was cool, man. It was definitely a different experience. But you know how it is. Like, you know, the NBA spoils you. So like all that was cool, but I know my mission was to get back to the league. So it was great just to learn from those guys and share those moments with those guys for sure.
Quinn, piggybacking off of that, how motivated are you right now? You're back in the States to be back in the league this upcoming offseason.
I'm so motivated. I feel good. You know, I'm in the best shape of my professional life, and I feel like, you know, I'm in some college shape. You know, that's the best shape you could ever be in when you're in college, getting ready for those seasons. So, you know, I just took it back. You know, I moved back home. I've got with the trainers that I grew up with. I got back with, you know, everybody who got me to this point. So, so motivated, man. And just seeing my friends have successful seasons this year in the league. I see them sign contracts. I see them, you know, living out their dream. That's more motivation, man, because, you know, I know the work that it takes to get to that point. So I'm so motivated. I feel great. And, you know, I'm ready for another shot for sure.
We're all rooting for you, Quinn. Good luck with that. By the way, for a lot of us, college was not our peak physical shape. So good for you for being able to remember that favorably. Thank you so much. Hope to see you again soon. Shams, I think we're saying goodbye to you as well on this beautiful Monday morning, but we will see you tomorrow with so much more information. I can't wait. And guys, you're stuck with me, at least for a few more minutes. When we come back, we're going to buy, or are we even buying, the firing of Mike Budenholzer? Man, we kind of knew it was coming, but we didn't know it was coming. When Run It Back returns.
Run it up, run it back, yeah. Run it up, run it back, run it up, run it back.
Experience the NBA playoffs like never before with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Join FanDuel today and get $150 in bonus bets when you place your first $5 bet. That's $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. That means you can bet on the point spread, player props, or any of the other bets FanDuel has to choose from. You'll still get $150 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of NBA. We got a little "You Buying That," the shortened version, and we're going to start with the Bucks firing Mike Budenholzer on Thursday. GM John Horst said the decision to make the change was very difficult. Chandler, are you buying the move?
This is just this is the part of the business that's unfair, that's tough. Barring an injury from Giannis, this probably doesn't happen. And they were the best team, the most consistent team all year long. Mike has been so great for them in the development of this team and kind of got them back to the top of the Eastern Conference and the league the last 5-6 years. It's just it's what have you done for me lately? And this is the issue with the coaching role. And this is why personally I'm doing this type of stuff and not coaching. It's tough, and it just shows you no matter how much success you've had, if it's not up to the standards of right now, you're out of there. And this is one of the better coaches. And this is a tough break. And someone else, he's going to get another shot. He's shown that he can coach at an elite level and lead his organization to a championship. But this is tough, and this is why it's a tough job. It's a tough gig because it always ends up like this, right? Unless you're like a Popovich, unless someone that's going to eventually just step down, you're going to end up getting fired. And this is tough because the best player arguably in the world got hurt, and they lose the series after having such a great season. But it's part of the business, and he's going to get another shot.
Yeah, well, I understand that losing to the 8 seed is, they're not calling it a failure, but it's an adverse result for the season. It is a little shocking. And I know people keep saying going back to 2020 and 2021, they were on the verge of firing him before they ended up winning the Nets series and then won the title. But it's a little insane. I mean, of the last 4 coaches to win NBA championships, 3 of them are unemployed currently: Frank Vogel, Mike Budenholzer, and Nick Nurse, who we'll talk about here in a second. And the other is Steve Kerr, who people are wondering what his coaching future is, even though he's won 4 titles in 9 years and could win another this year. It's a tough business. It's a tough job to have. But Mike will land somewhere. I know he's had some personal things going on in his life as of late, and I'd imagine he wants the time off at this point. But he'll land somewhere. He'll get a great job, and it's just, what do you want? It has me assuming that the Bucks have their eye on somebody already, and they're ready to go grab that and snatch that coaching candidate up.
Well, that's a perfect segue, Eddie, because yes, Nick Nurse happens to be one of the favorites for that gig. Are you buying that?
Yeah, I mean, I think he has to be. He's probably the best available coach as of right now, and I think if you're the Bucks, you're also looking at some of these coaches that are left in the playoffs or actually currently employed, and wondering if they're going to get out and maybe you send some draft capital, or maybe you wait it out, or maybe do a little bit of tampering. But there's a ton of great coaches out there. I wonder about somebody like Frank Vogel, who I just mentioned as well. But Nick Nurse seems to be a fit. Maybe they want a different type of voice. They have a lot to figure out in Milwaukee beyond just their coaching situation. Brook Lopez can leave. I think Chris Middleton can leave. Drew Holiday is always an interesting asset on the open market. So there's a lot about to happen there. And then you have the looming free agency of one Giannis Antetokounmpo in 2024. So, yeah, it's a huge summer for that franchise. Just 2 years removed away from the NBA championship. So it's crazy how quick the league moves.
It's funny to me because Toronto just did the same thing to Nurse that Milwaukee did. Now they're just going to switch spots, or Nurse. What is he going to do different that Bud's going to do? I do think Bud's going to enjoy the time off. I think he needs this right now. But I do think Nick Nurse is a great coach, but it's such a cesspool. I like what the Pistons are doing. Go look at ops guys that haven't been head coaches yet, especially with that roster. This is different because the Bucks are going to have a foundation. They're going to have a good team next year. So I understand that the process behind it. And like a lot of times when a guy gets fired, it's just you need to make a change. No one's really at fault. Someone's got to be the fall guy, and you just need a breath of fresh air and something new and different. And that's what I think is happening here. But it's funny because this is a coach of the year in Toronto, and he gets fired. So he wasn't good enough for Toronto, a worse team this year. Better team Milwaukee. Let's hire him. That makes any sense.
It's a tough gig. We got a couple games we got to talk about. Warriors-Lakers, Game 4 happening. We've had Anthony Davis. Hasn't had back-to-back 20-point games so far in these playoffs. So real easy, Chandler. Which version of AD we getting tonight?
Hopefully the better one. Because he can dominate, and the Warriors really don't have anybody for him. And this is a chance for them to really step on the gas here and kind of really put an end to this. And I know Steve Kerr saying it's not over till it's over, but you get down 3-1, you're about as close as you can be. So I expect Anthony Davis to come out on fire. I expect LeBron to be a little aggressive. So I like the Lakers getting this done.
I mean, Game 3 was hot garbage, and you're right. Steve Kerr is stating the obvious. It's only must win if you have to go home if you lose. But do you agree, though? Is it a must win Game 4, Eddie, for the Warriors?
I get what he's saying, and he's right in a sense, and they know better than anybody that 3-1 can be overcome. They've done it, and they've had it done to them. But it has to feel like a must win. I mean, the way they looked the other night, the way they played their previous series, there's a thin margin of error for this Warriors team, and they know it. So I think it's a must win, but I'm also kind of rooting for the most chaotic outcome, which is the Warriors being down 3-1 to a LeBron team. And
shut up, Eddie. We got to cut Eddie's mic. Cut Eddie's mic. It's time for the parlay. Time for the parlay. Here we go. Eddie, what do you got?
I got Austin Reeves. He's due. I'm going to go AR-15.
Right.
My guy's going to get at least 14 points. Shot in the dark.
I like it. Chandler?
I got Jimmy going under 28.5. That's a lot of points. He's been great. I don't think he's going to be great tonight.
Wow. Oh, that worries me now because we are wrong. Warriors, I just have them winning. Money line at Lakers. When you're not sure, that's what you do. It's the easy way out. Man, that is somehow going to do it for us on this day. We haven't had a parlay in a minute, and it kind of makes me nervous to do that. We have, by the way, tomorrow we have a guest, and it's Boogie Cousins. And I am very, very excited about that because it's been a long time since we've gotten to talk to Mr.
Live
Cousins.
from Puerto Rico.
I mean, it's going to be good. And who knows what he'll say, because the last time he did an interview, he said he was the third best center in the league right now. So maybe we'll get some awesome out of Boogie.
Another guy that might cuss on TV like Chandler.
I mean, he'd be amazing. I'd watch that. That does it for us today. We will be back tomorrow, 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific. And before we go, I'd like to say, go Knicks. Go!
Run it up, run it back, run it up, run it back, run it up, run it back, run it up, then run it back, run it up, then run it back, yeah.